Hey everybody, my name is Severin and today I'm going to teach you how to do a conventional style deadlift. So before I begin, I just want to say that the deadlift is one of the more complicated exercises. It took me a long time to really get this one down, so it's going to take a lot of practice. Also, a lot of people will tell you that the deadlift is like really dangerous and you shouldn't do it. Of course, anything in a gym is going to be dangerous. You can drop a weight on your toe. Don't be dissuaded into not doing an exercise just because somebody said it might be dangerous. As long as you're doing it properly and you're being aware of how you're doing things and you're working to improve your form, then that's all you can really do. And the deadlift is a really valuable exercise. It can help you a lot. So I do recommend that you at least try to do it. A final thing is the deadlift is very different for a lot of different people depending on your body mechanics and exactly how long your legs and arms are. So I would have just said experiment with it and figure out what feels best. But obviously that's really vague. So I looked for a video online and I linked that down in the description with all my other sources and actually added sources to the last video too. But yeah, that was a really helpful video because it gives a really good just universal setup for anybody, no matter what kind of body you have. And yeah, I'm going to include a lot of tips I learned from that video in here, and of course you can check out that video in the description too. So yeah, without further ado, let's get into it. Just like a lot of other exercises, the first thing you have to do is set up the deadlift. And so throughout this process, you want to make sure that this barbell remains stationary and you set up to the barbell instead of the other way around. And you want to ensure the weight is the same on both sides and you're lifting on a level floor. First, you want to step up to the barbell and you want the barbell to be under the middle of your foot. So there's a little bony part of your foot here that sticks out, and pretty much over that is your midfoot. The barbell should be 1 to 2 inches away from your shins. Now you want to ensure that your feet are shoulder width apart, or maybe a little bit less than shoulder width, and you're going to want to turn your feet out to some angle. How much you turn it out will depend on some later steps. Alright, so now that you're set up with your feet positioned here, you want to bring your knees forward to put your shins into contact with the barbell, and you don't want to move it, but then you want to slide your thumbs down the outside of your shins here until your hands hit this barbell, and that is where your hands are going to be positioned for the lift. You want to bring your knees forward until the front of your knee is flush with the front of your arm here. That's like a rule of thumb just for everybody to set up, no matter what your body mechanics are like. So when you set up, you're going to want your shoulders, your arms to be straight down the whole time. And this will, even during the lift, you want your arms to just be perpendicular to the ground, because this is going to lead to the most efficient barbell path, just straight up and down. This means when you set up, your shoulder is going to be directly over this barbell. If it's not, then your hips are going to move and be out of position, and then when you lift the barbell up, you're not going to be as efficient when you're lifting it, and the barbell is going to have to move horizontally in order to get next to your body when you're pulling it up. And that's going to waste energy and you're not going to be as efficient when you're lifting. So the next setup step, when you're in position here, your knees are in proper position, you've got your feet correct, is to flatten your back out. And so your hips are in proper position right now. This is where your hips should be. But your back is rounded, and in order for you to lift the barbell, your back needs to be flat. So you can think of it, when you're in position here, you can puff your chest out, and that'll help flatten your back out a little bit. Ideally, your hips will stay in the same position, and then you'll puff your chest out, and that'll straighten your back out, and then you'll be ready to lift. And the next important thing you have to know before you actually lift is how to breathe properly. Your back doesn't have to be completely straight during your deadlift. It's going to inevitably be a bit bent. If you can see powerlifters, their backs aren't 100% straight. It's not possible to be as straight as a ruler, but the important thing that you need to understand is that your back needs to maintain rigidity throughout the entire lift. You need to breathe in and compress the air in your lungs and compress your midsection and make sure everything is just packed together and really strong to support your spine. So in order to do this, your back doesn't have to be 100% flat, but you need to maintain proper breath control while you're doing the exercise, and that will help stabilize and strengthen your back and keep your spine rigid throughout the entire lift. So in order to do this, you just have to breathe in, just a deep breath, and then you have to brace your core, your midsection, as if you're going to take a punch to the gut. So you breathe in, and then you want to bring your rib cage in and flex your abdominal muscles basically, and you'll really feel it in your midsection here. And then you want to bring your shoulder blades down. So you'll feel on your sides here, on your back, the middle of your back and your sides, you'll feel like a tense feeling if you're doing this properly. It's almost like you're flexing your lat muscles. Basically everything I've already explained is how you do the exercise, but when you actually are in position, you want to make sure that your neck isn't going to be craned like up all the way, bent up. You want to make sure your eyes are perpendicular to your body. So if you're in position here, your body is facing down, then your eyes should also be looking down, basically like 2 or 3 feet in front of you. And then as you lift up, your eyes are going to slowly shift upwards along with the rest of your body. And then when you get to the top of the exercise, that's when you're free to do whatever you want with your breath. Most people will exhale at the top, but anytime, as long as you hold your breath up until the top, you're good to go. And when you get to the top, you want to ensure that you fully stand up and you're not bending backwards at the top of the exercise either, because that can get you injured. You want to stand up and just be straight standing up, and make sure that you have control over the bar at the top of the rep, and you're not like bent really far back or like barely up at all and then just like dropping it. You want to come all the way up and stand tall and proud. And that is basically everything. Another good cue is, instead of lifting the barbell, you're pushing the earth away from you. You're pushing the earth away from you and the barbell while you're lifting it. And this will help you evenly disperse your weight throughout your feet, because you don't want to be overly, you want to be applying pressure evenly throughout your foot in both the balls of your feet and the heels. And that'll help you do that. So one last important issue, knee positioning throughout the lift. So when you're at the top of the exercise here, you're about to come down, you're bringing this barbell down, and your knees are in the way, so the barbell is coming forward to go over your knees. And you don't want this to happen. You want to make sure that your knees are sufficiently behind the bar. Ooh, this is a bit obvious that you want to not hit your knees with the barbell. And instead of pushing the barbell forward, have your hips backwards more, and that'll help you get your knees out of the way for the barbell to pass. Also, ensure that when you do the exercise, you completely reset after every rep. So you go to the top, you come back down, and then you set the barbell down, and then you don't have to completely reset up everything, but you want to make sure you exhale and you take your breath back in and you brace again, and then you do a full another exercise instead of just touching and going back up like really fast. Another important tip is you don't want to squat the deadlift. You are going to be using your torso as sort of a lever, and your hips are like a hinge, like a door hinge. And your hips are what help you get that bar up and off the ground and move your torso in order to bring the bar up. So you're not using your quads to bring the bar up and like trying to squat it up. You're making sure that your hips move along with your knees. So it takes some practice, but they have to be synchronized with one another. So you're at the same time that your knees are moving, your hips are also moving to bring the barbell up. So if you've actually done the exercise a few times and you've experimented a little bit, then you might have run into a bit of an issue with getting the barbell past your knees here. You might be hitting your knees on the way up in the exercise. And if this is happening, then instead of having your feet face directly forward, you can turn them out at an angle and your knees will stay in line with your feet, and this will help bring your knees back actually a little bit, because when you're here, your knees will go farther forward than if your feet are turned out this way. And this can help you get the barbell past your knees, because you're going to be dragging the barbell up your shins basically. So turning your feet out more will have your knees further back, and you'll be able to get the barbell past. Midfoot under the barbell, feet about shoulder width apart. Then turn your feet out to a comfortable position. Bring your shins into contact with the barbell. Slide thumbs down, shins. And this is where you're going to grab. Okay. Now drive knees into arms. Make sure everything's flush. Okay. Now puff chest out and embrace. And then completely reset. Thanks for watching, and make sure to check out the description for my sources, and the bench press video I posted all my sources in there too, and I'll see you guys all in the next video.